Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. My name is Cindy and I'm here to show you how to preserve your meals in a jar. Welcome to Stay Prepped, where our motto is hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Stay ready, stay prepped. Most dry ingredient recipes or meals in a jar are going to have powdered ingredients in them. What I recommend is one of these, and I will link that down below. I prefer this over this for dry goods like beans and rice or larger pieces of food. But powders, you're going to want to use one of these. And I will link this down below. It comes from Amazon and it works perfectly. I think it's like $11 or $12. I'm filling the jar with rice just for demonstration purposes, but we're going to pretend there are some powdered ingredients in here. I could have filled the jar a tiny bit more because you want to leave just enough room for the oxygen absorber, but you don't want to overfill it so where you have to press down on the flat to get it closed. So I'm putting the flat on, and then I'm going to put the vacuum sealer on there. You can hear the puff of air when it goes down. I did push down on the lid to make sure it was locked. I think this took all of about 8 seconds. It's pretty quick. And then we're going to pull it off and we're going to test the flat to make sure it's on there. And it looks like we're good to go. I'm going to show you this with the rice and basically how this works. It's pretty much the same thing as how this works. This one is great. You can lock or unlock this adapter, and you can see here the lock and unlock button. That is for the wide mouth, and then you can put this back on for a regular mouth. You'll see here, this is the power button and the charging port. It comes with a USB-C cord to charge it with. So of course your oxygen absorber is going to go in there. You're going to put the flat on and press down. Then you're going to hit the power button and wait until it shuts off. This took over a minute, so it was a lot longer to seal than the other one. But it will shut off when it's done, and then you're just going to pull it off and you're going to test it again just to make sure it is on there, and we are good to go. So some of the benefits of the vacuum sealer kit over the standalone unit: the vacuum sealer kit does create a stronger vacuum seal. Also, it does protect the actual vacuum sealer from powder getting in it. So if something has to be replaced, you're only replacing an $11 item as opposed to a $30 or $40 item. So the other thing that keeps your food longer on the shelf, besides vacuum sealing, are oxygen absorbers. Now you can see the little pink dot here, which means that these are still good. Other ways that you know if they're still good is if they are hard, they're not good. And if they're soft and pliable, they are still good. Now, the thing about these is when you're using them, they come in this one comes in packages of 10. So I might not use all 10 because I use 1 to 2 per mason jar, and I'm a single person, so I don't make big meals in even quarts or gallons. So I get 100s and I only use 100. So if I use a quart jar, I might throw 2 of these in there. If I use a pint, I'm going to throw 1 of them in there. And you can see I opened 1 package. And the funny thing about it is when I open the package, the pink dot turns purple. So you know that they've been exposed to oxygen. And what I did was, because they last 15 to 30 minutes just out in the open without packaging, 15 to 30 minutes, they're not going to be effective anymore. So I take out what I need and then I reseal it on my vacuum sealer. Now, when I did that, this dot was purple, but now it's back to pink. So that's how I know that these are still good. So I'm going to link these down below as well. I really do love these, and they have all different sizes. A general rule of thumb for these is that you're going to do 100 cc oxygen absorbers for a pint, 200 for a quart, for a half gallon, 300 cc's. For a gallon, you're going to do 500 cc's. And for 5 gallons, you're going to do 2,500 cc's. So what you're going to do is when you're done filling your jar, you're going to leave a tiny bit of room up top, not much, because you don't want to leave much room, to put your oxygen absorber. And you're going to put that right on top. And then you are going to put the lid on. And of course, make sure you write on it with the date you prepared it and the day that you think it is going to expire. Now let's go over that as far as when they expire. If you're just using a Ziploc bag, great. A lot of people do that because you know you're going to eat it. You have a big family. You know you're going to eat it within 6 months to a year. So put it in a Ziploc bag and throw it in your cupboard in a dark place, in a cool, dry place. And it'll last you 6 months to a year. Now, the meals in a jar are great because they last a little bit longer. So you are going to fill this up with your meal in a jar using your handy dandy funnel, of course, which I've linked down below. So you're going to put all your ingredients in here, and you are going to use this guy, okay? You're going to put an oxygen absorber in there. So with the oxygen absorber and the vacuum sealer in a mason jar, you are going to get 2 to 3 years storage on that, okay? So you're going to I always mark the day that I filled the jar and the date that I think it's going to expire. So I will mark, maybe I'll err on the side of caution and I'll put 2 years out. I just marked on here today's date and the expiration 2 years out. You can do 3 years out. So these are 2 to 3 years with an oxygen absorber and vacuum sealing. If you just throw an oxygen absorber in there and you don't vacuum seal, that's fine too. That'll last you 12 months to 18 months. Now, the mylar bags are really, really awesome because they don't really require vacuum sealing. And I'll show you what they look like right here. I don't have any on hand, but I will link them down below. Mine are coming in tomorrow. These are the mylar bags that I'm using. They are 5 mil, and they even come with labels. I'm going to link them in the description below. These do not have a zipper. You see there's a tear line. If there's a tear line, you're going to heat above the tear line. So when you go to tear it off, you are not sealed below the tear line. You can get the ones with the zipper, which are more appealing to some people, but I guess it all depends on how you're using the product. So because I'm intending these for long-term storage, I really don't need the resealable ones. I think the bigger ones, this is a pint, so I think the bigger ones you might want to use the resealable, but this is going to be a meal for me. So I really don't need that because I'm going to be using the mylar bag in one shot. I'm not going to have to go back into it. So it all depends on your needs. I have linked some of the zipper mylar bags below as well. These are reusable. So I'm going to heat seal up here. When I need to tear off to use it, I can then put a smaller amount here and then just reheat above that. Also, the nice thing about these is that they are light tight, airtight, and moisture proof. Like no moisture can get in these. So let's fill it up. I use my funnel for this because I just find it to be easier. I just hold it like that. And here's my white jasmine rice, just for demonstration purposes. All right, let's see how that works. So don't forget, you're going to put your oxygen absorber in here. This is 1 pint, so I'm going to put a 100 cc oxygen absorber in here. I could have put a little bit more rice in here. I'm just going to seal it, like I said, above this notch here. So I have this little travel hair straightener, and it works so well for this. Now again, we can't really vacuum seal bags because I'm going to be using powder, so I can't really vacuum seal this. But with the mylar bags, you really don't need to, because the oxygen absorber is going to do some work of the vacuum sealer. This bag will shrink a little bit after I heat seal it. So I'm going to be aware of where I'm putting this, that it has to be above this little notch. And then, of course, be careful. Ow! Not to burn yourself, because that is a real thing. And I do a couple swipes over it just to make sure. I think it's good. So you're just going to tip it upside down and put a little pressure there. Make sure nothing comes out. And it looks like we are good to go. And you're going to slap your label on there with the date that you packaged it and the date of expiration, as well as any instructions for cooking or heating, because these, for me, are going to be meals. So there you have it. Now let's see if I did this right. I'm going to tear this. Hopefully I didn't go below the tear line with the heat seal. Hey, I did pretty good. All right, so I'm going to dump this back in the bag here, because again, this is just for demonstration purposes. And I'm making a little bit of a mess because I didn't use my funnel. So then what you can do is, if you have a lesser amount that you want to put in here, you're just going to cut it, and then you're going to heat seal it again. And then you could always use a pair of scissors. If you don't have the tear thingy here, you can use a pair of scissors to reopen it. So yeah, they're maybe not as cost effective because they only have a couple uses out of them. So that's why people like the mason jars, and you can open them and reseal them and open them, reseal them. But this gives you a longer shelf life, and I think it's worth it. Also, these are light tight, airtight, and no moisture is going to get in these. As you can see on my chicken corn chowder video, I couldn't fit everything in the mason jar, and then I had to rework everything, and it was just for a half a cup of ingredients that I couldn't fit in here. And I probably could have gotten away with it with mylar bag. The mylar bag with the oxygen absorber is 5 to 10 years. So that's why I really love the mylar bag. So if you plan on, let's say you plan on just doing like a whole bunch of food prep for a couple years out, or let's say your kids are at college and you want to send them a nice home cooked meal, but you don't want to send a mason jar in the mail. The mylar bags have so many uses. So you can just send that to them, not have to worry about it. And the long-term storage. So if you are prepping meals for, I live in Florida, so hurricane season can be rough. My idea of prepping for a hurricane was having plenty of Chef Boyardee on hand. These meals are so much more nutritious because everything's freeze-dried. The nutrients are locked in, and it's a more nutritious meal than canned Chef Boyardee. So what I've seen some people do is, if they have dry powdered ingredients in here, they'll put something like a cupcake wrapper in the top. So they'll put it like this, kind of like that over top, and then they'll put the vacuum sealer on, or put a paper towel or something like that, just to kind of keep the powder from sucking up into your, what is this, almost $30 item. This is $11 off of Amazon, and if you already have a food saver, I would recommend using this method to seal off this jar. Now, don't forget, we are labeling our lids with the preparation date and the expiration date. However, I do like getting these little tags, and you can see that I wrote on here the prep date, the expiration date, and then how many cups of water I'm going to need to mix with the jar or the mylar bag. These are really nice. They're very cute, and you can put whatever other instructions you want to put, or however you want to do it. And you're just going to make sure it's on there like that, and you're just going to put it in your cupboard, and you're going to put it in a cool, dry, dark place, and that's going to extend the life of your product. So if it's 6 months to a year, like I said, with a Ziploc bag, or if it's 12 to 18 months here, which again is if you're not vacuum sealing and you just have an oxygen absorber, or if it's 2 to 3 years with an oxygen absorber and vacuum sealing, or it's a mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, it's going to be 5 to 10 years. So those ranges are dependent upon how well you keep and store your dry goods. If you keep it in a cool, dry, dark place, low humidity, no sunlight, it's going to last you longer. That's why when I label the expiration date, I go on the shorter end just to be on the safe side in case, what if the power's out, that kind of thing. So you're going to want to err on the side of caution when you label for your expiration date. But keep in mind, if you are keeping your ingredients in a mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, then it can be up to 10 years that those dry goods are going to be good. All right, so that is all I have for today. If you liked this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe so you can see more videos like this. Also, stay tuned for bloopers at the end. Until next time, stay ready, stay prepped. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss new videos. Follow us on Facebook and on TikTok. Links are in the description. See you next time. You could put a paper towel over the top so that the dry so that come here. Can any of y'all relate? Who has dogs? You feel the pain, right? Excuse me. So, on that note, if you have any other questions, please leave them down below. And if you have any other food storage tips for meals in a jar or meals in a mylar bag, please drop them down below as well. And